Yes, thank you. Yes, Alex Letteboer. We are working as an architect in The Hague. So this is not a picture of the most prosperous economic countries in Western Europe. It's rather a picture of air pollution in Europe. So, and we live here in one of the most dirty areas in the western part of Europe. And, well, the environment and particulate matter and air pollution is a big problem, big health problem. It's even, it causes several diseases, and it even affects our vascular system because elementary carbon penetrates our blood vessels through our lungs. So it's quite serious. And, well, 3 to 5% of all medical expenses in the Netherlands are due to air pollution, and of all environmental hazards, air pollution causes the most medical costs. So, what can we do about it as designers? Because, well, I think there's a lot of attention for traffic engineering and so on, but we would like to search for topics, that are at the receiving side of the city. So the inhabitants, the buildings, and well, we met a few years ago. We met Sjoerd Hoogwerf, who had his master's exam on clean air cities, and well, he designed kind of a single issue architecture, which is concentrated how can you use the built environment to clean up air, and that was very interesting for us. And we wanted to use this, this knowledge to see if we could do something about our domain, which is, mainly focused on schools and the elderly and care. So we said, well, and these are, of course, the most vulnerable groups and that are, affected by polluted air. So we try to set up a research for seeing what we can do with clean air schools and what would come out of that, and how could architecture as a whole evolve from such a single issue research. So we cooperated with the municipality of Antwerp, and here you see a place where they plan to build a secondary school near the ring, and this is the site in red. And this building should be demolished and replaced by a new building for a secondary school. And as you can see, it's surrounded by 3 main roads, the highway, flyover. And when we took pictures on any given moment of this site, we always saw like 3 trucks in the picture. And, well, for your knowledge, there are like 70,000 trucks driving through the ring of Antwerp every day. And that's a huge problem because it's really into the city. And, well, the municipality of Antwerp provided us with a lot of data. So this is like a picture of the site, which is somewhere here. The NOx concentrations, which are above European levels. And the particulate matter concentrations on this site are, well, moderately, not that bad, but when you look at the elementary carbon, the very small particles that behave like a gas and that can really penetrate our vascular system, these numbers were extreme. So there was a big problem, so they didn't really want to go on building the school on that site, and the program was abandoned. So what we said, okay, let us try to make an hypothesis and see if we can come up with a design that in sort of way deals with this problem. And then we started to build a kind of a toolbox in which we could address this problem, in which we could design this problem. And we collaborated with Sjoerd and also with Berit Piepgas, who is sitting here on the front row, and she came up with this brilliant idea of designing a toolbox as a kind of a card game, as a serious card game in which you could categorize all the different tools that could be used for designing this problem. And, well, first we designed the card game, and here you see an example of one card, It is the measure we have, some data on it, and a SWOT analysis that explains if it's effective or what are the weaknesses, what are the strengths, and so on and so on. So then you have this whole toolbox inside a card game, and in pink here on the there are all different kinds of tools used that are that use filters as a main solution. There are tools that use covering up or making domes and to block the site from the bad air. There are tools that address all kinds of wind effects and air circulation effects, and there are tools that address the use of greenery. And well, we then assembled a team of experts, also people from TNO, to investigate and analyze this problem, this site. And what they came up with was that cleaning the air at that specific point was impossible because there's so much pollution. If you plant a tree, it won't have any effect. So what we came up with is that the main thing you can use on that side was the use of wind effects. And what we came up with is that the morphology of buildings in our built environments can influence wind, and you can use these effects to dissolve the air pollution in on the site. So we started with kind of simple diagrams, and the first tool we used was the stepping effect tool, in which gradually stepping up the building from the prevailing wind direction would lead the wind over the building, thus creating a relatively cleaner situation here. And then also we used the turbulent skyline effect, which is like a coarse profile of the building, with which turbulence is enhanced, and then it creates this kind of circular movements in which the dirty air is mixed with higher air levels. And well, and then because we created this relatively cleaner air moment in this site, we used this moment to let in the air, to use it for the ventilation of all the classrooms, of the covered schoolyards, of the hallways. And this air is filtered then, first by electrostatic filters to get all the elementary carbon out of it, and then used as ventilation air, and then gradually also poured out again at the entrance level, where we wish to create a kind of a clean air oasis at this particular site where you enter the building. So these two combined with the tools is kind of a design scheme for how we could address this problem. And here you see our first sketches. This is it's from the highway, an image from our highway, where you see the coarse building shape, which causes all these turbulence effects, and also it's lots of shelf shading windows, because in this kind of buildings you don't want people to open windows, so you should do a lot about comfort and comforting them so that they feel safe and they don't get too warm, because otherwise they will open windows and then the whole effect will be gone. On the other side, on the street side, you have these cantilevered building mass, also the cantilevered covered playground, adding to this kind of cantilevered street canyon effect, in which normally you talk about street canyon effects when you talk about effects where the polluted air is kept on the street, but we created a reverse effect in this on this side, where we keep the clean air on its place, thus creating for the students kind of a oasis where you can get in. So this was our first research project, and we cooperated with many people to get criticism and reflections and discussions, so we could sharpen our ideas and see what's really effective. And we went on, and a year later we try to see if we can repeat this research, but then look at the existing urban fabric and not really the newly built buildings, but existing buildings. And we came up with this building, which is the former Europol building in The Hague, which is near our office, so we could walk to it. It's quite easy. And it's also surrounded by this huge infrastructure knot, which you can see here. But also it's on a place where it's near a quite well attractive residential area. So, well, on a given morning day, you will have this kind of air pollution due to traffic. And so what we did, we tried to use a set of tools to address the problem, and there are many tools, and I can go very deeply into it, but it's not really the issue here. The main tools that we used to create the basic for this building were such that we used kind of sound screens and wind screens and the blocking of a facade to diminish the bad air getting into this premises, which is now a parking lot, which could be changed in kind of a park site. And then you create this kind of oasis again, where you can get the air from the cleanest point and then transport it through underground tunnels in which it's cooled, and use it then for the building, and then filter it again and let it out again, thus creating a kind of a circular movement here for clean air at this site. And the other thing was that by connecting this site and this new park with the adjacent school fields, you create kind of a new zone on the site in which the building has changed its orientation, its direction, but now is orientated towards this park-like landscape. And well, it's kind of a mix between old and young people, because we want to use this building for elderly people. So again, we had all these different people in different sessions cooperating with us, making choices and having all kinds of criticism, which was very fun to experience. And well, I liked it a lot. So, and we thought, well, this is something which we want to, which we can do again, but of course we did already twice. So 5 minutes? Yeah, I'm almost finished. So this was a single issue architecture problem. So what we try to do now is to have a more holistic approach in which we try to integrate healthiness as on a larger scheme. And so we know already in this Congress, it's fairly known that our environment determines our health. And as Machtel Huber said, you know, health is about resilience. And I'm not referring just to Machtel Huber, but also to Judith Rodin, who is now from the Rockefeller Center, who is always also talking about resilience in terms of resilient cities. So I think resilient people who live in resilient cities, that's a kind of a philosophical basis to start thinking about healthy environments. And well, there's a lot of attention for healthy lifestyle momentary, but we think, well, it's just about the personal level. It's not about environment. When we talk about environment, we always talk about sustainability in terms of carbon reduction. And we think carbon reduction, just to focus on carbon reduction, is counterproductive, as you can see. So part of the solution of carbon reduction could be also, part of the solution of sustainability could also be looking at health. And for instance, this car has a new filter, which is not only good for its passenger, but it also creates, it diminishes the air pollution in the environment it drives around. So I think that was something which was very appealing for us as an idea. So for us, yeah, health is care of the environment. It's the synonymous. And well, and so we try to see which aspects are now at this moment the aspects that we have to address to create a healthy environment. And we looked, of course, at the well label. And Peter Schiala is also here, was yesterday here, so we had a lecture by him. And I think, well, these are quite, this is quite good categorization of what health is about in the environment. So, well, and then if you talk about sustainability and the circular economy, it's just a tool. These are just systems to maintain this healthy environment in the future. So for us, this is a kind of a idea how we could address on a more holistic level the healthy environment, and we try to come up with a living lab situation where we can have a lot of partners again join us into making a design for the future housing projects or residential projects of the Netherlands. So we are busy now well, lobbying to get all these parties together, and also in collaboration with the municipality of Utrecht and the province of Utrecht. And it's actually about these kind of environments, because we have a big abundance of these environments in the Netherlands, where you can see it's so ugly. People get sick of it just by looking at it. So I think it's the new task we have to address. So how can we transform these areas? And well, these are the partners where we're working now to create first pilot. And well, that's about it. So I'm inviting you to join us if you're inspired by this story. Thank you very much.